Hi, my name's Jessica.
Hi, my name is Brody.
Hi, my name's Jackie.
Hi, my name is Colin.
Growing up, I used to love superhero movies. I always watched Spider-Man movies. I always watched Batman, Superman, all of those guys. But I always thought they were the same universe. I always thought Spider-Man was in DC. I always thought Thor was in DC, but I only realized that canonicity and continuity helps us determine what's part of DC, what's part of Marvel, and I feel like everyone needs to know this. So today I will be teaching you what continuity and canonicity is, how to establish continuity and canonicity, and how we can use that to solve our problems. So I think, first of all, we needed to know, what is continuity and canonicity? Well, continuity is just a set of chronological events, and basically what happens here will lead up to there, and so on and so forth. It's a set timeline. Canonicity, however, is a little more difficult. It's what events actually happened, what the creators deemed official in the universe, and how that sets up the series as a whole. So, I'll give you an example. In August 2018, the Film for Summer Screen Festival, the movie Inception was popular. Michael Caine was at a film viewing in the festival, and he was telling people that he too was confused by the ending of Inception. He didn't know if it was reality or if it was just a dream. So Christopher Nolan told Michael Caine, "Hey, any scene you're in, it's reality. That's the canon. That's what happens." So we know that whenever Michael Caine is in a scene, it's canon. So what do we do with this information? We know what it is. Now, how do we establish it? Well, that brings us to our second topic: how to establish continuity and canonicity. So, continuity is just the set timeline. So, in Star Wars, we know that Rey has force healing powers. She uses the force healing powers that she has on Kylo Ren when he's injured in Rise of the Skywalker. But we don't really see her doing it any other time. And that's confusing to us because it's like, well, if it's canon that these powers are in a continuity, then why didn't she use it? Why didn't other Jedis use it in Order 66 and Revenge of the Sith and so on and so forth? Well, that brings us to canonicity. Canonicity was deemed for Star Wars in 5 formats by GameSpot.com, where first we have the G canon, which is the George Lucas canon, where it's basically all the films George Lucas made. The T canon, which is TV shows and things like that. We have the C canon, which is for comics, video games, and novels, where they are part of their own canon. S canon, which isn't officially deemed, it's still going through the tests and through the creators. And N canon, which means not canon at all. See, these 5 different types of canon means that there's separate different universes where there's a continuity where something happens. Now, in these Disney films that aren't made by George Lucas, that's part of a different canon. The George Lucas films, however, are part of its own canon, and that's why those 2 universes bump into each other. We think, oh, the George Lucas films established this, when in reality, Disney just made their own spin. They're reusing the old actors. And that's how we know, well, how does this not work? Well, because they established that G canon and T canon are completely separate. Separate continuities and separate canons. Well, now we need to know the third thing, which is, how can we use canon and continuity to solve our problems? Well, let me give you an example for the Five Nights at Freddy's series. The game theorist, Matt Pat, created a video called The Grave Robber, in which he explains that one canon can have separate continuities, but they all exist under the same canon. Now let me give you an example. This is the game series. We know everything from the game series because that's where it started. We know all the 5 games, the lore, how it all began, who's who, and so on and so forth. Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, said he would be releasing a book series. And we're hoping, us the fans, we're hoping maybe this book series can help us solve plot holes. And this book series we got was this. We got so much of the same information, minor details. It doesn't really explain a lot. But if we look closer, the book series and the game canon are the same canon, just different continuities. They don't go in together, but yet they're the same canon, the same thing. We just need to use continuity to help us solve our canon. And that's how canon, two different continuities, can help solve the same canon. Yeah, sure, the book series is different from the game series, but in the end, we know that the creator has told us that, hey, the book series can help solve the game series. It's just that they're not part of the same storyline, but yet they're part of the same canon. So, in the end, well, what do we know? Well, finally, we know that there are numerous canons that kind of make a bunch of scrambled eggs, and it doesn't really go well. That's the Star Wars universe for you. For continuity, we just know, hey, point A led to point B, C, and so on and so forth. It's a set timeline. We know that continuity and canonicity is just basically an idea and how that idea plays out. So when I found out what continuity and canonicity is, I never mistaked DC heroes for Marvel heroes ever again. And that's how we know that continuity and canonicity helps us solve problems, helps us think of what we know. Because without those two, everything would be a mess. Thank you for your time.